Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame. What number is this one? 136. Around the world and
Oof.
81 false allegations.
Or the other one, the surprising truth about being falsely accused abroad, which was suggested by the AI title algorithm. Sometimes it just, I don't know. I wanted to see how it would do. Let's do an A
Yeah, a
and
lot
B
of times
testing.
the formats for the AI things are about the same. You know, the
Yeah.
blankety blank of blank about blank.
The
You know,
5 secrets
yeah.
of
The shocking truth about,
hamsters,
yeah.
Okay, so as always, if you want to send us a tip and a message, the best way to do so is at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We have the voles waiting to receive any comments that you send with your tip and hand them to us. And if you would like to support the show, we do have the monthly fundraiser up at feedthebadger.com/support. So if you just want to send us a tip and maybe add a comment to that, feedthebadger.com/justthetip, and monthly support, feedthebadger.com/support. And so what are we doing today, Brian?
Well,
Trying to take over the world.
we have a couple of stories. I guess we're going to take two and make them into one. So one is one that needs to be looked into more, but people have been asking us to comment on it, and that is this whole situation with Blake Lively, actress Blake Lively, and Justin Baldoni. Apparently, Blake Lively accused Baldoni of sexual harassment. This led to it harming his career, and this supposedly happened on the set of a film. It Ends with Us, which is based on a romance novel, I think, of the same name. And since these allegations have come out, there's just been like a storm of, you know, talk around it, and he said, she said, but a lot of it was sort of laying at the feet of Justin Baldoni with the initial reports. But as time went on, it's starting to look a lot like an Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation, although not quite as extreme. I know Amber Heard was like physically abusive, and that's not the case here. And Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni do not have a relationship. Blake Lively is actually the wife, I think the wife or fiance of Ryan Reynolds, who you guys might know from the Deadpool movies and Waiting. I'm trying to think of Van Wilder. I don't know. The Mint Mobile commercials. So, and apparently he was also like on board with these allegations as a strong supportive male feminist. And but it looks like let's say the crowd is turning against her. The audience is not buying it. And I do wonder if this doesn't also have something to do with the Amber Heard trial, which I think it changed people's perspective in a lot of way. For example, Megyn Kelly, who normally is a bit more on the feminist side, has been a lot more sympathetic, or at least speaks of being sympathetic towards men, which is also cool. Yes, Ryan Reynolds did get involved. So, and I think Ryan Reynolds' career is going to be harmed by this as well. So there was some footage that came out of the where the alleged sexual harassment supposedly came from. I'm going to display this for people in the vertical so they can see. And apparently, this is not footage from that, but these are just the people involved. And apparently, it looks like they were just acting. So basically, they were doing a romantic scene in a film together, and it involved a lot of like physical intimacy, like kissing and hugging and touching and stuff, but nothing vulgar. And she was essentially using that as the premise for claiming sexual harassment. And Megyn Kelly called it out. So this is promising, because I don't know that she would have been so quick to do that if this had happened in 2015, for example. So I thought I would share that. I think we're gonna do a deeper dive on this story on the news show, or maybe some other show, as more information comes out, because there's like a lot of information, but there's also a lot of rumors, and I don't want to like get too deep into this with all the rumor going on. because I don't know that that's helpful. But
Mm,
it does look like a situation where a woman is claiming sexual harassment without sufficient evidence, and there have been consequences to the person that's accused.
mm.
And but it's starting to come out now that that was all baseless. And
Surprise.
yeah, yeah. And in fact, there might even be evidence to show that it's the reverse is true, and that she was the one trying to be, let's say, um, sexually aggressive, or trying to get
Mm,
something out of some kind of physical satisfaction out of this scene that they were doing.
mm.
So, yeah,
That's
surprise.
weird.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh-huh. All right.
There's even
Well,
a
that's
scene. Did you see Deadpool and Wolverine?
yeah. No, yes. Well, no. I
You
haven't seen
didn't see
Deadpool
it?
and Rolling. No, not yet. Not yet. No.
So there's a
Go ahead.
scene in Deadpool and Wolverine that people are saying is a clear allusion, allusion, allusion,
Mhm.
or analog to this thing going on, because this has been going on. This whole situation has been going on for a long time, for a few years. And so Ryan
Mm.
Reynolds, he plays Deadpool, obviously. And
Mhm.
there's a character in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie named Nice Pool, which is one of the multiversal counterparts to Deadpool. And the
Mhm.
Nice Pool character is supposed to be a rip on Justin Baldoni, I believe, because
Mm.
he even makes like explicit references to intimacy coordinators and things like this that were involved with this whole controversy. So Ryan Reynolds, in a way, in a passive aggressive way, I suppose, had he put his 2 cents in. But I think that he's gonna be harmed by this too. So
Mm.
yeah, it's
Mm.
a bad situation. The woman is a
Yep.
human hand grenade, and the men are the ones caught in the flack.
That's usually what I've seen in my life, and
Mhm.
it's actually getting really aggravating to see just
Mm,
how much social power women wield with absolutely no oversight.
yeah. So here we go. Here's
Anyway.
another story that confirms it. This is from E News. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds request gag order for Justin Baldoni's lawyer. The lawyer is the guy coming after them with all of the receipts over improper conduct. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are accusing Justin Baldoni's attorney Ryan Friedman of improper conduct over his public statements regarding lawsuits, and have requested a gag order. So you know that you're on the right track when people are trying to silence you. But again, we will figure out, like
Mhm.
what we can, and maybe like come back. We'll likely follow up, because
Yep.
people have been asking me to talk about this, so I thought I would bring it up here. It's
No,
sort
no
of,
problem.
yeah, sort of tangentially related.
A little bit of tapas before the main course.
Hmm.
Some,
Small
false
plates.
accusations. Yeah, some little hors d'oeuvres of false accusation.
Yeah,
Little accusation hand grenades. Just hand them out.
yeah.
Okay, so are we what let's look at the
Yeah.
main
Do you
topic.
want to go into the video, or the stuff around the video? What do we want to look at
Alright,
the
so
video? The this influencer is
this
ruining the youth of India.
yeah, that's well, I mean, yes, we'll get into the video, but I just also wanna say that I've been if you're on Twitter and you're in the men's issues advocacy sphere, there's the Indian men's rights activists. So they're the Indian men's issues advocates. And lately they've had this particular case that they've been talking about a lot. And I'm going to mispronounce this terribly, but I will give it
Well,
my college try, but um the name was this man was essentially subject to um harassment from the Indian anti-dowry laws. So apparently since the 60s there have been laws against women being harassed for dowry. So essentially women being harassed for financial resources from their in-laws' families. And there's this feminists have gotten in on it. They've said that there's been a rash of suicides related to this, which is really interesting because if you think about it, it's suicides based on financial pressure put on women. I mean, doesn't that also apply to men? But anyway, so this particular case, his name was Atul Subhash. Subhash. I'm probably butchering it. If you're in
Atul Subhash,
Attack,
I'll just put it on the screen. You guys can help us
yeah.
pronounce it.
And essentially, he commits suicide after being harassed by his own in-laws for, I believe, funds, because they were essentially extorting him based on these anti-dowry laws. And it got to the point where he commits suicide over it. So basically, financial pressure leading to suicide, except in this case, the instrument of torture is the state, as it is in many of these false accusations. So the Indian men's rights advocates have been talking about this, and it's interesting because we all have this impression of India as being this horrible no woman's land. You know what I mean? And it may not actually be the case that that's true. I mean, I doubt that the Indian men's issues advocates are completely making stuff up. And certainly this particular suicide would suggest that there is a problem when it comes to these dowry laws or these anti-dowry laws. The other thing I wanted to point out is that I gave you a statistic, or a tweet with a statistic. According to Davis R. 2010, domestic violence related deaths, there are in the U.S., I think in 2005, according to his methodology, or 2008, there were something like almost 8,000 male
Are you
domestic
bringing
violence.
up this statistic here?
Yeah.
Neighbor of the Beast. It's on the screen
Yeah.
for you guys to see. I'll share it in the vertical, or the share it in the vertical.
Yeah, I'm also being distracted by my kitty. I apologize, guys. There was about 8,000 male domestic violence suicides and about 2,000 female. So 4 times as many men are committing suicide as a result of domestic violence. Now, the question is this the case in India as well? Because I believe that these statistics apply to the US. So, but nobody is asking that question or doing the necessary work to find out. And right now, what I see, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that a bunch of feminists are saying that there's a whole raft of female suicides related to dowry expectations. So financial expectations in the marriage, financial expectations put on women in relationships, and then women are committing suicide as a result of that. And now some of them are alleged to also be murders, I believe, but we never look at the other side, which is men. And if 4 times more men are committing suicide in the West as a result of domestic violence, does that also apply to India? Does anybody look at that? What is the number for men? And you know that feminist organizations don't care. They just present this number completely orphaned without any context. And you're supposed to assume that that doesn't happen to men. But this particular case, Atul Subhash, this particular case indicates that it does happen to men. We don't know what rate. We don't have the statistics to compare to the rate that it happens to women. So all we have is maybe a few like little bracket things. What's happening in the West? 4 times more men are committing suicide due to domestic violence. Significantly more men are committing suicide due to financial pressures in relationships. So does that apply to India? Nobody knows. Nobody cares to know. We just assume that they're all horrible patriarchs.
There was a at one of the ICMIs, I believe it was 2017 ICMI. There was a director, Deepik Narayan Bardwaj, who made a documentary. Yeah, she made a documentary called Martyrs of Marriage, and the movie was about the dowry laws. I'm just trying to like see, because she's you can watch it on Apple TV and Netflix even, apparently. Yeah, so it could be interesting to check out. But yes, we were talking about this in 2017, and I think that there's obviously a lot of problems with this, in particular how it affects men. But yes, there's a just gonna say, yeah. So the Martyrs of Marriage is the video, and it's yeah. I mean, I just saying that we've been talking about this for a long time, and this is something that still hasn't I guess, been looked at in a fair and balanced way.
No. So we're now going to be looking at a video about an Indian feminist who's saying that certain online influencers are a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's find out what she has to say.
All right. So this is Awkward Goat 3. That's the account. And I want you to, okay. So she's going to talk about the video is called This Influencer is Ruining the Youth of India. Feminist reacts to this person, okay? Birav Reels. So this person does Reels on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. I don't know about TikTok, but I know YouTube and Facebook for sure because I looked it up. So anyway, let's listen to her opening.
Misogynistic potential rapist. Why is this guy obsessed with virginity? Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For the past few months, every time I scroll on Instagram, I come across this one particular influencer's videos, and honestly, they're really annoying. I literally blocked him because I just didn't want to see his videos anymore, but my followers kept sending me the videos to react to.
Oh, you're a victim. You
Yeah.
just didn't want to. You didn't want to respond to this guy. You just had to because you were pestered so much. Okay. All right. Nice framing.
I just want to point out that we can come back to this later, but I went to that guy's channel. I looked him up and I watched his videos. And they are, most of them are just comedy sketches. And they're comedy sketches that are so culturally specific that I don't get half of them. I'm like, I don't get what's happening here. And there's like no voices. There's just music that plays. And then he's just, doing these little sketches. And they could be about a number of things. They're not about relationships. They're not about politics for the most part. But there are a few that are. I'm talking like a handful that I saw. So I just want to point out, first of all, that she's going to paint a picture that his videos are all like MRA videos, and they're not. They're just about whatever, about God, about the afterlife, about, all kinds of stuff. He also just happens to have opinions on relationships and children that she doesn't like. And I also want you to pay attention to her body language and her behavior and tell me if it doesn't look a lot like Western feminists, the way that the expressions that she makes, her micro expressions, the tone that she uses. It's like they're picking up, what the Western feminists have been putting down. So anyway, let me just look at my time codes here. So I will let her play the intro and then we'll just keep going from there.
I am going to willingly unblock him, watch his content, and get annoyed just so that you can get my reaction. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Divya Bhasin, also known as Awkward Goat 3 on Instagram. I'm a psychologist, content creator, entrepreneur. Sounds weird when I say that. These are my pages on Instagram if you want to follow them. Now let's get into it. Actually, no, I think I need my emotional support goat for this one. So I'm going to try to not be mean because I don't want to bully anyone. But also if I do get mean, I'm not sorry. Let's watch the first video.
Oh God. So she gets her emotional support goat, which is a stuffed animal. These are adults. And she's going to react to his videos. Okay. All right, so these videos don't have sound because in the original videos, because I've looked at them, there's just music playing, and so like the music is probably going to get you a copyright strike. So it's played without sound. You just have to read the captions. So
Do you want me to read them?
A little bit. Yeah, I'll go back a little bit, and you can read them.
Okay, I shall read them.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's watch the first
This
video.
won't be a disaster. What are your expectations? Says the woman in what appears to be a hand towel. Oh God!
Yeah, well, it's like a headscarf. I don't think that's
unfortunate pattern. But anyway,
yeah.
And the man responds with, Hindu Tate responds with, "I expect my partner to be a virgin." Okay. And I
Okay.
expect her to cook. Jeez, that's a
Okay.
really low bar.
Yeah,
It's like-
that's well, I don't know about the virgin part.
well, not now,
Um,
but honestly, it is really a low bar. It's like
it should be. I don't
I
know.
don't understand.
I don't know about India though. So like,
Why is it that women constantly complain about how awful men are to them sexually, and yet they can't seem to stop and not be and actually retain their virginity? It's like you have somebody who constantly complains about Disneyland or Disney World, but they're always going through the gates, and it's like, well, one of these things has to be wrong. Either men's sexuality's got some sort of allure, or you're a massive masochist, in which case, like, why would you want that as a partner? But anyway, let's
all right.
Those are some pretty odd expectations. The expectations could have been something like, I want someone to love me, someone who is passionate. But no, all this guy wants is basically a slave.
That's not
what?
true, but again, yeah, because he said I'd like these two things. She's now this is what they do, okay? A guy says somebody says, "What do you want out of a woman?" And a guy names a couple of things. Then the other person says, "Oh, those are the only things that matter to you." No. No, he
Yeah, this is
asked
just like the baseline, right?
yeah, it's like, can we start with that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like
And
they're arguing. She's arguing in bad faith, specifically because she wants to make him look like a misogynist. So,
okay,
yeah,
right. But is he also trolling? Because he's a comedian, right?
I don't know. I mean, like some of his videos they could be, but like that. I didn't find these videos because I was looking for these reels in particular, and this guy's made a lot of videos, and most of them are reels like this, and so I'd have to dig through them all to find them. So I don't know if this is the whole thing, and I think this is on Instagram, and I'm not really on Instagram, but I looked up his
Okay.
videos on Facebook and YouTube, and there's just a bunch of short videos. But it
Okay.
could
All
be a
right.
joke, but
So
okay,
you
go
have to
ahead.
make an effort to actually find this content. All
Uh-huh.
right, but I'm going to be like really petty. Is this a filter that she has on her face?
Which person? The woman in the video? In
The
the
woman
video
in the
within the
video.
video?
It looks like she's attempting to look like a gray
Well,
alien.
it's okay. So it's possible that the the guy who makes these videos plays every character in his shorts. So that could be him with a
Mm.
filter because sometimes
Oh.
I've watched some other
Oh.
videos where he's talking to his father and it's just him with a filter to make him look old and give him a beard. But there's one where he talks to
Oh.
God and it's just him with a filter. So he's using the filters as like makeup and costume. So that could just be him. I don't
Oh my god.
know,
That's
but
why
it looks weird. Yeah.
it looks really I mean, no offense, but that's a really small nose.
Yeah.
That
It's
that's
like
a
two
nose.
holes.
Yeah, it's just like two pinpricks in her face. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
For the region, that's a very, very it's really unusual.
Again, I don't know. It could be a girl, could be his sister, but I don't know. So it does look like there's filters for sure,
Yeah. Okay. All
but I
right.
think
Let's
that's
keep
for effect. Okay, so
uh,
all right, I'm gonna yeah, let's
pettiness
face it.
off.
Okay, it's
It's
okay if
okay
you're
if
not
you're
a
not a
virgin.
virgin. You'll
You'll
find
find
someone. Just not him.
yeah.
Fine. No, I am a virgin. I just do not know how to cook.
Wait, what is that?
He's just looking at her. Are you sure this is? I think this is meant to be comedy.
It might be, but even if let's say that let's say it's just comedy. Well,
Well, it's
that
funny.
doesn't make this chick look any better because now she's attacking a comedian for jokes, which, by the way, par for the course, right?
Yeah.
That's what they
Well, I mean,
do.
but that look on his face, like, oh, you'll find someone if you're not a virgin. And she's like, but I am a virgin. I don't cook. And that look on his face, like, oh no, that,
Mhm.
that's the real deal breaker. And like cooking is a life skill. you know, and
Yeah,
it's very
everybody
important.
should know how to cook. Like that would be that. It's just like when feminist women are always going on about, like the what is it, the domestic labor, like this
Mm,
thing that they don't think they should be doing, like cooking and cleaning and laundry. But it's like if you lived alone, you'd have to do those things too, unless you're a
mm.
slob, in which case maybe not. You know
Well, they have been doing this thing called rotting. So
what?
have you seen that? It's a
No.
new thing. That they're
Oh
just
boy.
they basically live like Osmond Gold, you know. Girl rotting, I think it's called.
Oh God, girl rotting. I'm
Yeah,
gonna look
actually
this up.
worse,
I'm gonna look it
because
up.
I'm pretty well, I mean, I've heard the legends of the filth that Asmund Gold lives in, like
Yeah, I saw a video and it was
cockroaches
like a
and the
cockroach in his place or something. But
no,
I grew
worse,
up with cockroaches,
he
so
had a
oh yeah.
dead rat that he used as an alarm, because what would happen is the dead rat was festering in his on his, like, windowsill, and the sun would come up and hit the dead rat, and it would start to stink, and that would wake him up. And so that
Oh
kind of
my
level
God.
of just freaking rot,
Yeah,
and,
that's nasty. If I was a
it
Twitch
is.
streamer or whatever he is, a streamer of his size, I would have cleaning people. I
Well,
wouldn't.
I think he did actually eventually start to clean, so there you
Yeah,
go.
okay. Well, there you go. Redemption arcs abound.
Oh,
So I
yes. Oh,
looked it
yes, big
up. I'm going to
redemption
read
arc.
it out. I looked it up. It's a thing. Girl rotting. The girl
Mm,
rotting trend, also known as bed rotting, involves spending extended periods in bed, often engaging in passive activities like watching TV, scrolling through social media, or eating snacks. This trend is popular amongst Gen Z and is seen as a form of self care, particularly for those feeling burnt out from work, school, or social engagements. However, the trend has sparked debate, with some viewing it positively as a way to recharge and others expressing concerns about its glamorization of mental health issues like depression. How do you glamorize that? That's not a trend. That's called sloth. It's it's being lazy.
well,
Um,
I guess in this era we are
they're
in the
calling it
era
an aesthetic. Yeah, it's an aesthetic.
of celebrating the deadly sins. We're just
That's
celebrating
right.
them.
That's right. It is. We are.
We're in our deadly
Yeah.
sin era.
So girl rotting, and it's funny too because when you read the description, it sounds like it could be boys or girls, but it's literally just women. Like if a man
Mm,
said, "I'm going to be doing some bed rotting," people would be like, "Get off your ass, you loser," and rightfully
yeah.
so. But women, they're, "Oh yeah, I just stop. I'm just giving up.
I'm in
That's
my
it.
bed rot era.
I'm in my bed rot era." That's right. So anyway, well,
Yeah.
that's pathetic.
Yeah,
let's
it is.
That's pathetic. Okay, let's get into more of this. Let me just check my time codes here. So you can get a sense of it. Yeah, there's a little bit more. So let's play because she goes through a couple of videos in the beginning.
Expression. It makes me so uncomfortable.
Okay, so he's trying to cook and he starts a fire.
Let me get this straight.
So he tries to cook and he sets a fire. It's a joke. Okay, pretty sure it's like slapstick. Let me just look at it again. So he's flipping something, and he's pretty good at editing, I gotta say. Okay, he's cooking on the wok, and then he starts a fire.
Let me get this straight. The concept of the reel is that he will cook for his partner if she's a virgin. That's literally his
No,
only.
it's
Oh, the end of the video is that he ends up cooking for her because she's a virgin, but he also starts a fire.
yes.
So it is a
Yeah,
joke. That's the
it's just
punchline.
it's just a lame joke. Why
Yeah,
are you so confused? Do you lack a sense of humor?
because
That
he's got
expression.
like a couple million followers, and she only has 46,000.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, that expression was hilarious. That look on his face.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, I want two things. I want you to be a virgin, and I want you to cook. And she's like, I can't cook. And he's like, okay, I'll cook for us, because I'll drop that criteria and fulfill it myself. Except apparently he can't cook either, and then he burns everything up.
Mhm.
This is pretty milk toast in terms of misogyny. It's like that this influencer is ruining the youth of India. I think you've oversold here. It's just a little bit, you know?
Yeah, something has to be done.
Yeah.
All right, let's
He must be stopped.
let's play some more.
Expectation from his partner? That's a little bit weird, but I guess we can't judge. We can, and I'm going to. Because do we know if he is a virgin?
So yeah,
He is a
again,
woman.
where is she getting this? You see how this is shot and the expression she's making? Like she she lives in India, but she appears to be very like Western. Like I listen to Taylor Swift, you know.
Mm.
Anyway,
He never mentions that. We will never
Does,
know. Also, why
does
does
it
this
matter?
even give
Because
a
it was
vibe
about
to
you
his
know, we have
interest.
to know because we have to dunk on it. See, when men are virgins, it's something to be ashamed of, apparently. But
Well,
I
but in
doubt that he is.
this instance is he's supposed to be asking for the same thing that he's giving, I think is what she's saying. But I mean, he can want whatever he wants, you know. And if a woman wants a man who isn't a virgin, but she's a virgin, which
Hmm.
actually statistically is not improbable, by the way, then there you go. She can choose him. Like
There you go.
this. Why do you have a problem with assortative mating? Like, why do you have to get in there and be like, oh no? What- And also, why do you have to do it with an obvious slapstick comedy routine?
Can I be a little bit petty?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This chick is using a microphone attached to a fork. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was
Okay,
going
okay.
to
Is
say
that a thing
something,
that
but
people do? I
perhaps
didn't.
it's a symptom
Is it?
of wrong.
She might be hungry, but also wants to make a video.
So she's
I don't
like
know.
Augustus Gloop's father. At some point in this video, we're going to see her consume her microphone
Yeah.
like a very hairy meatball.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah.
as if like cooking is a huge deal for him because he's a man, but he's still willing to do such a non-manly activity as long as his partner is a virgin?
That's kind of a reach. It's like a big reach. I hope you
Yeah,
don't
I think
pull
it's just
something reaching that far. I think it was just a comedy sketch.
I think it was. I think it's just humor. I mean, it's really difficult to retain the humor while trying to dissect it to this level. Are we going to be watching the whole 19 minutes? Okay.
No, no,
Thank
no,
God.
no. I just wanted to get so she's
There's
gonna make
nothing like
some. Yeah, go ahead.
there's nothing interesting to look at behind her except for the goat,
No.
which yeah, and maybe the doorknob, but I mean, I do try to create something interesting at least
Yeah.
sometimes. But so I'm like, it's just this person who's not getting the joke or doesn't get jokes, and her strange setup with the microphone on the fork, and yeah, and I don't know, it just feels a little bit dull. That's petty.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is
Okay.
kind of dull, but I
I
mean,
mean, at
this
least
is
with if you're like
this.
watching Asmongold, he's got all of this stuff in the background, so you're wondering like what horrors lurk
I don't
within.
watch Asmongold. I mean, I appreciate that he's saying things I agree with, but I don't watch his
Mm,
content. Because
yeah,
I
that's fair
know
enough.
he's kind of a normie in a lot of ways, so he doesn't really. I'm not learning anything from him. It's like, yeah, that is shit. I agree with you. Thanks for saying that to your giant audience. But anyway, there is some stuff in the beginning I want to get through because she's going to. This is what these people do. They like
Oh, like
start.
there's somebody in the chat. Julian
Mhm.
Jitsu says, because he's bitter, he can't pull the women he thinks he deserves. That's a huge reach. I don't
Yeah, I don't
sense
know what you're
bitterness
talking
in
about.
this comedy routine at all. Like it's just intended to be a joke. He's like, I want a woman who's a virgin and who can cook. And she's like, and it's okay if you're not a virgin. Some other guy will like you. So he's not even letting her down badly. He's not like, get out the tar and feathers. Let's ignite her. Like, burn the witch. He's just saying it's not for me, right? And then she says, "No, I'm a virgin. I just can't cook." And then he's like, "Okay, I'll cook." And then he burns the house down. It's just it is a joke that is funny when you initially see it because of the way he's mugging at the camera, he makes it funny. But when it's not a complicated joke. It's not a like a literate joke. It's not British humor. It's not Russian humor. It's just him mugging at the camera, makes it funny, move on. And I don't think there's any bitterness in any of this. I think he was just making a joke, honestly. Okay.
All right.
There's also somebody else here. Ben, need advice. Temporarily open my marriage for my wife. Okay, well, yeah, you don't need.
Wait,
I don't need to read any.
Okay, as they walked in on her with another guy, I can't get the visuals out of my head. Feel awful.
Your relationship is probably over.
Yeah,
If you don't have
unsubscribe
kids,
from. Stop following
unsubscribe.
Destiny and follow us.
Yeah, just don't. No. It's not a good thing. All right.
Yeah,
If she doesn't care about your emotions, your relationship is over. I mean, you could probably I'm not going to say you can't be swingers because somehow our parents managed some of them anyway. But if you can't, for example, if you can't talk to her about the fact that this is bothering you, yeah, your relationship is over. Okay. She just wants to monkey branch. Let's move on. I don't even think this is real, though. I mean, it's the vertical.
Yeah, I think you're being trolled, Allison.
Yeah.
That seems like a weird thing for someone to suddenly open up about on a channel he's never been on before with people he doesn't know. So I'm gonna go with calling bullshit on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's keep going.
I also saw some comments under this video. No seal, no deal. Don't know why men think it's cool to say this. First of all, women are not like a Coke bottle or, I don't know, a can of gulab jamun.
Do you know
We're
why
people.
it's funny? Because what? Did she
Nothing. I
funny?
just laughed at it. No, I think it's funny that somebody had the gall to just say that. Well, not gall. It's just we're at the point now where we're just done pretending. So.
Well, I mean, but it's not even. But it's the pomposity, right? It's the pompousness of all of this. It's like women sitting there and pretending like their ass don't stink. I mean, you clean it, but if you don't clean it, like they sit there and they pretend if they never wipe, they don't stink. Let's put it that way. Because they're women. So everything they do is perfect and everybody else needs to accommodate it. And it's like, I find it amusing that that's being punctured when somebody says no seal, no deal. That's being punctured. Right. And honestly, I don't think that's entirely true. Right. I don't think that this is something that from my own experience, I haven't seen a lot of relationships start with the woman being a virgin, except my own. And it's the relationships seem to be doing fine. So I think that this is just poking fun at this idea that women are somehow hovering above everyone else on the planet. Well, the men, basically, since there are only two genders, according to the presidential edict. Don't kick us off.
He only applied that to the federal government. It wasn't. He can't. It's not a mandate for the whole country. It's just the federal government, but still very funny. Anyway, so let's listen to some more. Ben is saying that he's not kidding and that he's suicidal. I don't know that we can help
I gave you
that.
what advice I can. I'm not gonna sit here in judgment in your life choices of you or your wife. I'm gonna sit in judgment of the fact that you can't talk to your wife about how you feel. What kind of relationship is that? Right? You are giving up your privacy, you're giving up your intimacy, and you don't even have a wife you can talk to? All right, let's keep going.
All right.
They don't have seals. Biologically speaking, not every woman has a hymen, and even the women who have a hymen, the hymen is not like a seal. Just use your brain. How do women get their periods if there's a seal on?
Yeah, again, this is like she watched Lacey Green videos from 2015.
No, but
and now she's an expert on the hymen and how
it doesn't even matter because this isn't a gynecology lecture. It's a freaking YouTube joke.
She's spurging out on a joke because she's trying to call this guy out. This is spurging out. Women spurg out. That's what it looks like. Feminist women, when they spurg out, they do that.
I am spurging out over this damn fork.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
cannot
yeah, I
stop
know.
seeing it. It's
Well, I know that this is not uncommon, but maybe
the world's
I don't know.
driest meatball
Yeah.
and most moldy.
Yeah.
Dry, moldy meatball. Okay.
All right.
There. Not a seal, but a seal. Here is a diagram of what a hymen looks like. Does that look like a seal to you? It's just scattered skin around the vagina. Oh no, she said vagina. A lot of
don't-
women don't even have a hymen. Your hymen has nothing to do with your morality.
Okay, all
or
right,
how you're-
enough.
You
Okay,
know this
how many-
argument, right? Yeah, let me jump ahead.
Yeah,
Well, she kind of like implies that he's a pedophile. So I don't know if you want to get into that because he essentially prefers virgins, or at least he did in that sketch. I don't know what he actually prefers,
No.
but what?
Yeah, you don't. It's a joke.
Yeah, jump ahead to the next video that she's going to
Are
respond
you
to.
freaking kidding me? She's huddling. Okay.
Oh, well, these are the comments. The no seal, no deal. Humanity still exists. That he is the reason. Cry more, ladies. I will accept a rape victim girl, but not one from these hookup culture. Okay. So anyway.
What's she gonna say about that?
Okay, we'll go here. Play it.
Okay.
Something you're actively thinking about. What is there to accept or reject in someone who is a rape victim? How is this even a thought that you're having?
Wait. He's saying that if it's involuntary, it's fine. But if it's a voluntary life choice, this is okay. All right, lady. Do you understand that sexual assault or rape is involuntary? In a lot of cases, that does not reflect on a woman or a man's personal virtues or sometimes, there's certain situations, gray areas, but for the most part, true rape doesn't reflect on someone's morality if they're a victim of it, not if they're the rapist. That's different than someone voluntarily going and getting a whole bunch of hookups, like going and getting white night stands. It's a different mentality. It reflects their mentality. So he's not saying that he's rejecting or accepting the person who is involuntarily subject to a sexual experience. He's saying that he recognizes it's involuntary, right? So it does not reflect on them morally. The fact that you are confused about this is disturbing. Please make sure you don't grape anyone, lady.
All right.
But actually, that is something that female rapists have a tendency towards, is that they tend to say that their sexual aggression against the victim is actually reflection of the victim's own worth and morality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's the problem here. I don't know. Just floating it out there. Not nailing down anything specific or concrete. Okay.
Rape victim girl, but not one from hookup culture? Why is this something you're actively thinking about? What is there to accept or reject in someone who is a rape victim? How is this even a thought that you're having? This is ridiculous. There is nothing wrong with the person who got raped. The problem is with the rapist. This whole
Oh god, so boring. That's
Okay,
you're completely missing the point.
Intentionally, I believe. She either doesn't understand the point or she's intentionally missing the point, and the little grin on her face would suggest it's intentional. So she's basically, I've had this experience talking to feminists on Twitter. So recently I had this conversation about patriarchy, right? And some woman was saying, well, I pointed out that men, even though if women were excluded from particular professions, men still had the obligation of financially supporting women, right? Overall. And she came back with, well, of course, if women aren't able to work in certain professions. And the thing is that past professions were awful. Like most jobs in history that you got paid for were deadly, dangerous, uncomfortable, and required physical strength. But regardless, she's like, well, if men excluded women from those jobs, of course they were obligated to provide for them financially. And I'm like, no, they weren't. There's no automatic obligation. Like, and I use the example of, white people might have excluded black people from certain professions. Were they then obligated to 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 support black people financially? No. There's no connection between men excluding women from jobs and men thus being obligated to them financially. That connection isn't there. Unless you have an absolute philosophical adherence to the idea that when women have a need, men are obligated to fulfill that need, right?
Yeah.
And so I pointed that out, and we went back and forth, and I basically said, she said, but how would men have children if they didn't support? And I said, well, they could support the women up to the point where they gave birth, however many children, and then stop supporting them. This never happened, by the way. Widows and old women were generally supported in a lot of societies. In Sumer, there were laws intended to support widows and orphans. So we've always, as far as I know, that's like almost the beginning of civilization. So we've always had this impulse to support women well beyond their child rearing years. But I said, no, men could simply stop supporting them after they get a couple kids. And then she said, well, what would happen to the women? I said, they'd starve.
Mm-hmm.
And then she comes back with, oh, this is what men really want for us. The feminists, without feminism, this is what men would. And I'm like, and you know that she's misrepresenting what I'm saying, because otherwise she has to realize that there is a premise there that she is not admitting to or recognizing. And the premise is that men are obligated to women's needs.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case. I mean, they're not obligated to women's needs as a matter of course. They are. They end up being, but they certainly aren't if you're conjecturing that society is constructed for men's benefit at the expense of women, right? There's something missing there. And she had to acknowledge it, but instead she just turned around and played the victim.
Yeah.
Just like this woman is doing. She's intentionally misrepresenting the point, and she's playing the victim of it.
Yeah.
On behalf of all women.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
I got a Rumble rant from NovaFan21, who says, I wonder if women used to be banned from doing activities that would break a woman's hymen despite not being sexual, like horse riding. I could be completely wrong.
No, they weren't. Like, horse riding used to be a big feature of a woman's social and physical attractiveness and allure in a lot of cultures. Like, being able to handle a horse. Definitely in like 18th century Victorian England, that was like huge. Like, if you were a woman of the lower classes and you had a really good seat and you could really handle a horse, you could actually raise up yourself socially in the ranks. And that's don't
we call that animal husbandry?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if it's husbandry.
But that's husband is not. There's no wifery. So that's patriarchy right there. We're calling it animal husbandry, but we expect women to do it. What is this? I'm kidding.
I'm sure there's some cultures where women would be excluded from stuff like that, just to keep them safe. But there's also equally cultures where it was sort of considered socially attractive, or like, for example, Mongol cultures. Women were supposed to be able to teach their children how to ride. That kind of thing. Okay, let's
all right.
Let's keep going.
I'm going to the next time code, like right here.
embryo at that point. It doesn't even have a brain. It is not a human.
Oh, it's about abortion. I know that you probably don't want to watch that, look at that bit, but
Eh.
A human being.
What?
Because
How
if
did we
that
get?
is a
Okay, did
human
he
being,
do a
then
joke about
because he
abortion?
made a video about it, I think. Let me see. Is it like right? Let me see. Hold on.
Okay,
Yeah, she starts talking. She sets it up and then watches the video, I think.
okay, like
Oh,
us.
yeah, here it is. Here it is.
A
Yeah.
human is this is not a human
I
yet.
never thought I'd say
Mhm.
that, but we believe in abortions here. We understand the need for them.
This
Yeah,
is
so you
not a
don't have.
human
This
yet.
is not a human yet. I mean, she is right. It's probably an embryo at that point. It doesn't even have a
Wait, wait,
brain.
wait.
Not a
How big was it?
Well, she was pretty pregnant, but
She
again,
looks
this
like
is a
8
sketch.
months.
It's not a real pregnant woman. It's just like a sketch. I'm not sure if it's comedy, but you know what I'm
It's like she
saying?
just does not want to have any kind of commentary on her moral choices in her life at all.
No.
Not even humorous.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
goddamn,
Yeah, exactly.
you what kind of life is that? It's such a worthless life. It's
Mhm.
like
So
you
why
just
are
take
we
out a woman's moral agency and murder it, and then you just give it back and like, yeah, live a pointless life. Live an empty, pointless life, lady. No consequences to any of your actions, nothing to strive for, nothing to become. You're just an empty vessel.
Mhm.
Good luck to you. Who apparently has no sense
blaming
of humor.
women
Yeah.
for having 45 abortions? This is India. This is not America. I never thought I'd say that, but we believe in abortions here.
Oh.
We understand the need for them. This is not
Okay.
human yet. I mean, she is right. It's probably an embryo at that point. It doesn't even have a brain. It is not a human being. Because if that is
Okay,
a
yeah,
human being, then my periods
yeah,
are
All right. So here's the
Meanwhile, okay.
next bit. Okay.
Meanwhile, cops.
Cops. A dead woman. What happened?
What happened?
She
She
died
died
protecting
protecting
her
her kids
kids.
from bandits.
What
What
happened
happened
then?
then? She took us to the haystack and hid us there. She told us not to come out until she distracts them away.
Okay, I'll give
Aw.
him this. His cinema
I don't know what I mean it's a
I
yeah, she told this little
I think
story, but what does
I'm
he
not
mean by that?
I'm not
Yeah.
following the logic. Perhaps there are cultural
That's what I'm
references that I'm
saying.
not
There might
getting.
be some cultural thing going on, but I think that if she's saying this isn't a human yet while it's in her belly, but after it's a child and she dies for the child. Maybe that's what he's trying to say is that, it is a human after it's born, but not before it's born. And maybe he's pointing out that doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
So,
that one seems a bit of a dud. Okay.
yeah, sometimes well, it's like anything
cinematic
else.
shots are pretty cool. What drama? He belongs in Bollywood. With Sandeep Reddy, probably.
I'm
What?
sorry about your mother. She's our
She's
neighbor. She isn't even our
isn't
Another
even
mother.
our
observation I
mother.
have is
Okay, so it's the same woman dying for someone else's kids, but was saying that she's able to kill her own kids. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a little weird. That's surreal.
Yeah.
Hmm. No, that's defying my ability to interpret.
Gonna
So,
that boils the old noodle. All right.
yeah.
Let's see. 6. There's a bit more on this, so I'm gonna let this one play.
that he always makes the girls look all weird and demure and not in a cute way. Like they're always looking down and like hesitant and scared, like what's the word I'm looking for?
Yet like you.
Submissive. Like
Submissive.
I'm
Submissive.
like, what the heck are you talking about? Have you seen how she looks throughout the like whenever she's playing? Watch it. I mean, if you show it again. Whenever she plays one of this guy's videos, she's got her head down and she looks like a freaking victim. Like
She's
look
looking
at
at
that.
her she's looking at her phone or something to
Yeah,
watch the video, but
but even
yeah,
the
I know.
posture is I don't think she is looking at her phone. Her hand is on her elbow.
She's looking at something on her lap. While
Maybe,
she's
or just
watching
her
the video.
lap.
Or maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
another
I mean,
observation
this
I
is an
have is that he
intentional
always makes
decision for this is an
Mhm.
intentional decision to show her looking like that. And then she complains that he's making the girls look demure and looking down. It's like, well, you're doing that. Look, you've got a child's toy in your arm. Like you are making yourself look like a victim. And you are presenting yourself as a victim of this man's humor. He's like, you can't go back from there. You are doing what you are accusing him of doing. Okay.
All right.
The girls look all weird and demure and not in a cute way. Like they're always looking down and like hesitant and scared, like what's the word I'm looking for? Submissive, like a slave. Confident girl who looks up with her eyes like a guy. What's that?
Wow. Again, another stretch. Another massive reach.
She's looking down.
Yeah.
And nothing in particular with her child's toy, her baby toy.
Okay, let's watch more of the guy with the hair, because that guy's got hair.
Yeah.
What is the point of this reel? How is that
I don't
abortion
know.
point related to this random Bollywood plot line? I saw this comment under the video. Man, I love my weekly abortions. I love this person. On a serious note, abortion is not bad. Please.
I don't think that was on your side, lady.
I love my weekly abortions. Yeah, because I don't know. Like I said, it's I think that it's basically he's trying to make commentary about the value of human life, and he's trying to, say
The
something
arbitrary
about
nature of how it's presented. Yeah.
Yeah. But she doesn't see that. All she sees is a man trying to tell a woman how they should act. And God knows men can't hold women to any standards. So not even women can do that. Women have to be liberated, 100% liberated from everything, including the consequences of their actions. Okay, so let's jump ahead. The expectations of gender expressions or gender responsibilities.
He actually knows a woman who got 45 abortions and she enjoys killing babies. I really don't know what's wrong with his audience.
So basically, there was he did a story of a woman. Well, there's one of his reels with a woman saying that she wants to have 45 abortions, intentionally hyperbolic, but there are women that are they may not literally get that many, but they'll say they have a right to, and I think he's responding to that, right? It's the rhetoric. It's not, and then of course this is one of those things that a lot of Western feminists do. They take you literally, but they don't take you seriously. So they'll take what you say literally and try to debunk that, and then claim the moral high ground while not actually like talking about the heart of what you're saying, right? It's like it's like the fact checkers, they fact check you on like the littlest shit, and then they claim moral victory, and then they say, well, now you don't have a right to speak because you've been fact checked. And that's not really the way mature people go about doing things. Like, we have conversations, we talk about ideas, we don't just throw like data at each other and then try to debunk each other based on this like incredible standard. We actually talk about it. So if you want to actually have a conversation about abortion, maybe making a hyperbolic statement about the number of abortions is a way to get the conversation started. But the way that feminists operate is they basically take you literally so that they can find one flaw and then use that to tear down your whole argument, and then say we don't have to address this anymore. Let's go off and have our 45, 50 abortions. But if she doesn't think that 45 abortions if she thinks that's a ridiculous hyperbolic number, then how do you explain the millions of abortions in the last, like, I don't know, there was like a data point that came out not long ago that said that abortion was a leading cause of death in humans, like, and by a large margin, like cancer was like way down the line and it was in second place. So it's like a massive margin of abortions. And if abortions weren't treated as birth control, which they are at this point, because over 80 something % of abortions have nothing to do with rape or incest or the mother's life being in danger or anything like that, and it's just like an abortion of convenience. Like, I just don't want this baby. And so if a guy says we should talk about this and he makes like a sketch, because that's the way he communicates ideas, is he does something creative online and makes a little video about it, and then this woman comes along and says that doesn't happen, no woman is making wanting 45 abortions. Well, maybe not, but there's been millions in the past year or whatever. I think it's like in the past year there have been millions of abortions around the world, not just in America, right? So that should be like, it's meant to be a conversation starter, and she's turning it into a conversation ender, is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
All right, here's another one. So TF, I don't know what the TF stands for. Whom do you prefer? And there's a woman, and short, average looking, 40 to 60K a month startup. So I think he represents that. He's short, average looking, 40 to 60K. This is like the 4 6s, right? He's starting a business. And she's like, no. And she sees another guy. He's on his phone. I don't know what that says. Tall. Okay, yeah. Tall, handsome, 150K,
a month.
knows cooking. And he can cook. And then she goes after him. You go, queen. So you see, this is just showing, like, he's basically making a video about like women's and men's preferences. So let's look at it more. Now, she's asking him, who do you prefer? And he sees woman number 1, high body count, drinks, 100,000 a month, hates cooking. She's a boss girl. She's on her phone. Virgin, hates alcohol, 20K, likes cooking. you misogynistic.
Oh, good. So this just lays out
yeah.
It just lays out the and honestly, the only difference between those two women, aside from income, is one actually has skills that the other doesn't have, and apparently some kind of discipline. That's it.
Yeah.
And like what amazes me is this idea that going out and taking part in hookup culture doesn't reflect on you in some way in terms of your moral attitudes and your discipline in life. Like, you really think that somebody, I don't know, a woman who spends her time, I don't know, volunteering as a candy striper in the children's ward is the same type of person potentially as a woman who spends the same time going out and getting laid in bars?
Yeah.
Like, these choices reflect who you are as a person. The fact you have a high body count, the fact that you engage in this activity, that reflects on who you are and your priorities as a person. Right? And of course, the main thing that he's calling out here is the double standard. Women are allowed to have standards, fair enough. Men aren't.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Let's see what she has to say. I'm curious. Yeah.
Why is this guy obsessed with virginity? He's literally continuously posting about this. Do you notice the body language of the girl who earns 100K? She's confident and she's not like looking all shy and introverted and submissive. He's literally propagating the idea that women who are submissive are attractive and women who are confident
are you wait a second. First of all, you're reading a lot into it. Because they both, like, if you go back, he also sort of looked coy and slightly goofy, like just, like it's the typical come hither look, right? It's so interesting, like this attitude of the woman can't have any kind of emotional vulnerability because she needs to be a boss babe, and the man also can't have any kind of emotional vulnerability because if he does, he becomes repulsive. So basically you just have two people that don't give a crap about each other. So the ideal is two sociopaths just angling for where to shove the knife, I guess. Okay, because it seemed like he was pretty goofy himself, pretty goofy and sort of submissive. Those ridiculous little
Well,
hearts.
yeah, I mean, he was just, well, again, she's not going to address that. She's going to talk
No.
about the way the women are portrayed, not him. Um,
And of course, she completely misses calling out the double standard, which was the point of the joke.
well, she might say more about it, but let me just look at my
Okay.
time codes here.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Probably because it's easier to control the submissive women. What kind of fetish is this?
Oh my God. So, okay. Can I just say for the record, if you like submissive partners, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like yeah, anybody's entitled to that. I don't understand. Like, okay, so if women, and there are definitely a lot of women that are like this, if women prefer dominant partners, nobody shames them. But in order for
Mhm.
those women who prefer dominant partners to get what they want, they would have to find a man that prefers submissive partners. But we're not
Mhm.
allowed to accept that there are men who might like their partners submissive. So how do you square that circle? Like, either men don't get submissive partners, but that means that submissive women don't get dominant partners either. I thought you guys were
Mhm.
into that. I thought you guys understood that that's a dynamic. So it sounds like feminists want all women to be dominant, and that's it. And men could just be, well, men have to be submissive essentially because they can't be dominant because that's not right. So like
Yeah, but
more
also
men being dominant is in fact oppressive and problematic and should not exist. It's toxic masculinity. Women being dominant, that's just, girl boss behavior. That should be accepted by men. That's it.
so essentially you just end up having a constant fight. But the other thing is that if you are constantly reducing women down to victims, that's a submissive posture. Even if
Mhm.
you're bitchy about it. Like literally you're in every instance you reduce the situation down to a man's agency. That's submission. It's
Yeah.
one of the worst kinds of submission because it's submission with zero trust, but it's submission. So yeah, get off. You're a hypocrite. And
Well,
I gotta.
again, she's trying to make the men appear predatory, so she has to poison the well in small droplets across the video because that's what she's doing. She's creating a narrative around this guy. 20 more seconds, we'll jump to the next bit.
Really want to know what he's getting out of talking about virginity all the time. I know, likes and follows from stupid men. Actually, no, likes and follows from stupid people. Although most of his audience is men. I kind of agree with this video though. I agree that wanting a rich and tall guy is not really a preference and it's prejudice. But if he wants to talk about this, there are way better ways to talk about it. This video is not even about how being tall or rich is something that women look out for, and that's not a good thing. It's about his fetish, virginity. I'm not sure.
So, okay, so she does notice the double standard, but she dismisses it. I don't know if you caught
Mm.
that. So she said this video could be about how it's wrong for women to be prejudiced against short men that don't make a lot of money, but he's not making it about that. He's making it about the importance of virginity. So I'm going to disregard the whole video, even though that's half the video. And it's the reason why she says this should be talked about, but she won't talk about it. And the reason
Mm.
why she won't talk about it is that it means, and this is something we've been saying for years and years on this channel, the only way feminists are going to get anything coming close to what they supposedly want out of, like, the way men and women interact, for example, the only way that women or feminists are going to end toxic masculinity is if they change women's preferences, but they dare not speak about what women's preferences should be, so they're never going to change it because women's are not, they can't have preferences because having preferences would suggest that they have some power, and that would completely, like, hollow out the feminist movement, which is presumed and based in the concept that men have the power and women don't. So they can't do that, so they have to work around it somehow. That's why they shift, by the way. That's why they talk about things like class or race or gender or whatever, because they can't talk about the fact that women have power, and they do, right, in relationships, and they can make choices and they can have preferences, and they do, and they use that. They have standards. They're often unreasonable, But feminists can't address that for what it is because that would suggest that women have power. So they'll never really talk about it. Okay.
Sure why the girl who is earning has a high body count and likes alcohol. This wasn't a part of the boy's characteristics. Apparently, if a guy is an alcoholic and has a high body count, that's not a problem. It's only a problem if a woman is doing that. I'm not sure why he showed the high earning woman as a bad person, whereas the girl who was earning less was a good person.
Okay, she's just showing generally men's preferences. They don't care as much for the high earning, or at least they're worried that if she's that high earning that she'll want more or better, and that if you don't provide as much or better, or if you have a moment of weakness, that she'll walk out. Because the thing is that a woman who's earns $20K a month is used to living at $20K a month. So if you lose your job and you have to tighten your belt, she probably isn't going to be as picky about it as a woman who's used to $100K a month.
I don't think women have a problem with men's body counts as much because, I mean, I think that there should be some discernment about that, but I think generally a man who is successful with women is more attractive to women because
Yeah.
it's another method of sexual competition for women. Oh, that guy that can have anyone, he's got me and I'm going to keep him. That's why they
Yeah.
end up like going after these players and they try to turn them into husbands
Yeah.
because they're
And
trying to be the one. That's what it is. They want to be the one.
and women need to fix that in themselves.
Mhm.
Like, and the way that you do it is to stop acting like a victim and start understanding what it is you want from your life. Like, every time this woman makes herself a victim of something, she understands herself less, is what I'm getting
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, a
Because
man who's sexually successful is social proof for a woman. So it's not
yeah,
really about like the number of partners. It's about what
yeah,
it means, right?
yeah. I mean, if he's a virgin and he's beating them off with a stick, I'm sorry. He's still got social proof.
Yeah.
So it's still, but that's entirely something that women need to deal with in themselves, is what I'm getting at.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you have to learn to be who you are. So what other women want isn't as much value to you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
All right.
if you become an individual and you seek a companion in the way that you are, if that makes any sense, then you're not seeking what other women seek, and you're fine with that. You're
Yeah.
seeking what you want because you know what you want, right? And like,
Yeah.
this is like, I listen to women like this, and this is a total failure in trying to figure out who she is and what she is and what she wants. Like, maybe not. Maybe this is just a facade that she's putting up for likes and clicks, but
Well, she's literally just doing like all the Western bedroom feminists do. She's just doing that. Like
it's like,
the same mannerisms, the same facial expressions, the
so
same
this is
kind of
what a
like
bedroom feminist was.
side, yeah, like you know what I'm saying? The same duper's delight. She's doing all the same. She's picked it up. She's caught it. She needs a vaccine. She needs to
India's
get the
in it.
vax for
India's
this.
in its bedroom feminist era.
Yeah, India is in its bedroom feminist era. Like the men's movement in India was making a lot of progress, and now they've got their own bedroom feminists. And she's not an
Yeah, they're
American. She's
divorced.
not Western. She lives in India. She speaks English, but she lives in India. So,
Because she's
India,
radically up on
you guys
that.
got to nip this shit in the bud. Otherwise, you guys are cooked.
And you need to
Especially
do it with
because
excellent.
based on her skin tone, I think she might be like a higher caste, like kind of an elite Indian woman.
Yes,
Because you
she
know
is.
that the caste system is like, right, like what do they call it? The Brahmin Indians. I don't know. I don't pretend to know that well, but I know we got Indians that watch. So if you guys could explain that to me, maybe I'm wrong, but she might be like a woman with a lot of spare time on her hands, let's say, to make videos. So
Yes. So
yeah.
you gotta nip that in the bud. You gotta get your talking points in order and your arguments.
Yep.
Gotta listen to our channel. There you go.
Yeah. There you go. All
All
right,
right.
let's listen to more. I jumped ahead a bit.
It's getting really tiring. I think I need to take a break now. I'm back.
The hell was
Why did
that?
you? Okay, she's just taking a break because she's so too much emotional labor, Allison. I don't even know how this works. Why did you block him from my phone? I told you he's
told
just a
you-
friend. He already told you that he has a crush on you. So what? Don't you trust me? I trust you 100%. It doesn't seem like you do. Gasps. Someone's trying to steal our car. So what? What do you mean? I mean, the car is locked. Nobody can steal it. So you're not going to do anything? Should I?
I know Taylor.
So what is that? What is that? You guys translate that?
Yeah, I guess he's basically saying that I don't know that
He's like his mate guarding, I guess, is warranted because I mean, granted, I might not agree with that. I think that it's probably a bad sign that your girlfriend is friends with a guy who has openly declared that he's interested in her and that she's like, I'm just going to stay friends with him. But I would say you probably shouldn't be for his sake too, though, because do you really want orbiters around your girl? Like, I don't know. I would probably say, you know what, dude, for your own sake, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't invest in this. So,
Yeah. Well,
but I don't know what you guys think.
I actually had a conversation about this with a young man. I won't say like what, but I won't give any specific details. But he essentially still had ties to his ex-girlfriend, and she was basically they were basically having this conversation over his old stuff or her old stuff. And he was like, I want to give it back to her in person, or I want to have this conversation with her. And I'm like, and she would keep talking, and it was an excuse to keep some kind of something going,
Yeah.
right? Even though, and it was an excuse on her part as well. And it's like
Oh,
she was
sure. Women will
keeping
do that
him
too.
on
They'll be like,
the back burner just in case.
just in
And I
case.
said to
Emergency
him,
plan, yeah.
yeah, I said to him, okay, I don't think this is really good for your health, like your mental health. I think you need to like, I mean, I didn't say it like that, but I think, cutting it off. And he didn't really want to do it until I said, how would you feel? Because she's with a new man. If you were that new man and she was keeping someone else on the back burner, and that actually got him to think and then break it off. He just like sent her stuff and stopped talking to her completely, just cut her off. And it's like, it's sort of a similar situation. And I mean, it's not a similar situation because she's mate guarding. But the other thing is that if you're the dude who's being held in the back, what does it say about you? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what does it say about this guy? He's expressed his fair enough. He's told her his feelings. But if she's in a relationship, that he is staying in there like a dirty shirt, sticking in there and waiting, lurking on the edges. Like, that's very disrespectful behavior. And I mean, in the case of the young man that I was talking to, he was very conscientious. So as soon as I mentioned that, he was like, oh, and then broke it off. Although my concern was actually more for him than anyone else. But,
yeah, I think orbiters should like really not do that. I would highly recommend guys don't become orbiters. If you feel like you're being, like, I don't know, it's just a really bad situation for men to be in. It's probably better just move on. If you're interested in her, she's with somebody else, just let them be, because it's painful and you don't want to be in that. You're limiting yourself. You could be like, working on something else and somebody else,
Yeah. And but my overall point is that this guy in this situation, that's that's a guy that you do sort of have to pay attention to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's waiting.
Yeah.
He's like lurking around like that car thief. He's lurking around.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, it is sort of a similar situation because the intention is clear, right? The intention
Yeah.
is clear. And, do something about it or you're going to get your car stolen, you know? And, so, I mean, I guess it's not a really great analogy, but this is humor, right? Or maybe just humor with like a
At
little bit
least
of
it's true. Yeah, I mean,
at least it's explicable than the
it's
one with the kids that the neighbor woman
yeah,
saves.
that's very
That was a
strange, but
little,
it was out there. All
I
right, I
would
got
say
a
that I did say
uh-huh.
that her argument is better if she was like, this just isn't funny.
Yeah.
But she can't do
Uh
that, can she? She just need to be a victim of it. All right, let's keep
I
going.
got another Rumble rant from NovaFan21. He gives $1 and says, "Women not hating on all men is my favorite fetish." Thank you. That seems like a rare one.
And
Um
also, we got a super chow.
oh, we do. Shit. Let me open up the super chats. I forgot to do that. So I will read it here in just a moment. Waiting for it to open. Hello, Discord. All right. Great Indoors gives us $10. Thank you, Great Indoors, and says, I'm way behind on the live stream, but 4 weeks ago, a video made by the channel Psychology with Dr. Anna was uploaded about the Blake Lively situation. And the video was all about how certain PR firms are being hired by shady people to start smear campaigns and how this negatively affects the credibility of women. I didn't know anything about the story back then, but I knew this Dr. Anna was full of it when she mentioned that the PR firm was the same as Johnny Depp as a way to discredit that company. Yeah, I mean, the thing is too with these Hollywood relationships, a lot of it is fake. I mean, most of it's fake. But then sometimes some people like Amber Heard, they take advantage of the fake setup to like benefit in another way, like in a real way. So that's why I'm hesitant to get too much into this Blake Lively thing, but we'll see what comes out of it because, I had this guest on, one of my favorite guests, Lisa Brighton, and she used to work at a Hollywood magazine. So her and her twin sister would go to these big parties, and this was years ago. And I had her on to talk about Me Too and the Harvey Weinstein thing, and she shed some interesting light on the whole culture and how it's all like everything you see in the tabloids is fake. It's all set up specifically because if the tabloids and the people are talking about you, then you are more likely to get in the spotlight, which means you are more likely to get roles. So they will use controversy like, Leonardo DiCaprio spotted on the beach with his new body, and there's pictures of him, and now everybody's talking about him, and boom, he gets a movie role. I mean, it's not like the best example, but that's the kind of thing. And Lisa Brighton was talking about how she used to go to these parties, and she would be approached by women, actresses, and women in the business to meet with producers because they were a couple of blonde twins and they were very pretty. And they'd be like, oh, you want to meet this person? And they would consider it, and then like male actors would come up to them and say, don't go there, like this is like bad news. Like they would try to protect them from the business. And so yeah, I mean, I think that like with this Blake Lively thing, I'm sure that there's a lot of fake shit, but I think that there is something real to talk about in there. But I think a lot of this stuff is very like it's constructed. It's almost never organic. And I think we know that. Like by this point, if you haven't been paying attention, you know how fake Hollywood is. Not just the fact that they're like pretending to be people they aren't on the screen, but like the literal lives of these people. It's not real in a lot of cases. So, not surprising. But anyway, okay. So let's keep going with the video.
I know Taylor Swift has lyrics where she says that she's an Aston Martin that somebody drove straight into a ditch. You don't have to take it literally. Women are not cars. I can't.
So she's literally quoting Taylor Swift lyrics, Allison. This is how far the rot has reached India. Taylor Swift. I wonder if India has like a Bollywood Taylor Swift person. Do they have like an analog to that? I don't know.
Can't believe I have to say this. Women are human beings. His content does not make any sense. He just compares anything with anything. Because unlike cars, women have free will. And they can go to the other man if they're in love with that person, when she clearly said she's not. There are only two situations where somebody would steal the car, that is the woman, and that is if she doesn't want to be with this guy anymore, or if that other guy forces her. This
Okay. Do you want me to jump to the next thing, Allison? I can't hear you. You're muted again.
And the
Or
only
something.
reason is if the lock doesn't hold. Well, honestly, I'd say that if like, in this situation he's better off without her. That fork is really bugging me for some reason. I hope that at the end of this video she just eats that fuzzy meatball.
Eats the microphone? Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be funny. Just takes
Yeah,
a bite out of it like it's cake.
Yeah.
It's cake. It was cake all along. See, that's a plot twist I would look forward to.
Yes.
See.
I'm not looking forward to much else
All right.
in this
I'm
video.
gonna jump ahead to we're getting close to the end here. So cultural relevance. It's like right here.
You did read the Super Chow, right?
I did read it, yes.
Okay, so I do have a
Yeah.
few thank you. I'd like to thank Health Potion Addict for putting in $250, which was
Thank
very
you, Health Potion Addict.
Thank you. And I'll double check to see if there's anything more. How many more time codes do we have on this monster?
3.
3?
Mhm.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
literally just horrible. I don't think he respects women at all. Either that
Oh.
or he really likes his views and followers and doesn't have any morals. Which is funny because he talks a lot about morals of a woman.
All right. Here's another video. See the guy in this? This could be a filter, and it's just him making himself look older. Is it? I don't know. Are there filters like this? And he says, "Tell me why you want to marry my daughter. Can I take your daughter to the pub tonight? Yeah, the pub. She ain't
She
coming.
ain't coming. Whose father talks like that? Is his father 18 or something?
Babe.
And who calls their girlfriend Beb in front of the father? I will repeat myself. This is India, not America. We don't call each other Beb in front of each other's fathers here. Maybe he's an Andrew Tate fanboy, but he really needs to make his content culturally relevant.
Okay. I want to take you to the pub tonight. Looks at her father. No, sweetie. Okay. Dun 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 dun.
This
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
sound very Indian. Literally, no guy is going to be asking their girlfriend's dad if they can take her to the club tonight. Notice the body language of the girl in this video as well. She's also like looking down a little bit and looking all scared and submissive. And the men
No,
look
it's
confident.
just a situation where she doesn't want to have an argument with her dad. Like women have feelings, lady. They're not all freaking Terminators.
Yeah, she's got to do a lot of work to read into these. I don't really see anything at all in that video. I played that one for you guys because I don't get it. I don't know why this is offensive. I mean,
so far, this has said a lot more about this woman than the guy. Like all of this stuff seems pretty relatively innocuous. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
And cool. His videos are not just directly misogynistic, it's also the body language in the way he acts.
They're directly misogynistic. Oh, there's more to it. See? She obeys her father. That's why. A girl who obeys her father is a queen.
Yeah.
And he's like smiling in the background. I mean, like, okay, is he wrong though? I mean, if it's like I don't know how conservative India is as a country.
Well, she's
but I mean, I think
making it culturally relevant.
Yeah, I know. But okay, what's she gonna say about that?
Obeys? I don't know how to break this to you, but women are not slaves.
Wait, filial piety is not slavery. You know, filial like respecting your parents and their wishes is not slavery. That's I mean, this
Mm,
is phew, I don't know. That's a stretch, lady. You are stretching.
okay.
All right.
Well, I mean,
So
it's a
the
very conservative opinion, but other than that,
well, but she's got a really conservative one too, right? Because she's claiming this is not how things are in India. This isn't America. You don't say babe in front of the father, but also like if the daughter listens, like it's almost like a no-win situation. Like if in his scenario, okay,
mm,
he had it to where instead of the father, like when he confronted the father and said, I want to take your daughter out, and he says no. And then the daughter, instead of her siding with her dad and staying, if the daughter said, I don't care, dad, I'm gonna go with him, and they leave together, and his dad is like in the background, like angry or whatever, she would have still said it was bad because she still went out to the pub with the guy. So it was like it
mm,
didn't matter which way. It was about how the man in the sketch felt about the scenario at the end. If he was happy with it, then it must be, you know, problematic backwards or something, right? So it doesn't really matter what the result would be. She would just find a way to twist it to make him look like
mm.
the bad guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, let's keep going.
This reel really reminds me of the concept of how women are seen as like objects passed down from the father to the husband, which is why usually in a lot of our government documents
You
it's
know,
like wife
you
of,
don't really put
husband of.
any kind of any kind of value in objects obeying you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no the ultimate idea here is that her father is responsible for her safety, her protection, and because of that, she recognizes his role and listens to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that's same principle behind a person like a president listening to his bodyguards, right? And
Yeah.
how are they supposed to work in their role as a man, as a bodyguard, if the person that they're protecting does not listen to them? Okay. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to have a situation where men are not responsible for your protection, not responsible for your provision, in a true position of equality, then you have to stop judging men based on them protecting and providing you. And you are not a woman who is in that position yet because you still play the victim, which means you still identify with being protected by men.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's either your father's going to protect you or your husband is going to protect you at some point. And one of the things that this guy is saying with his video is that the father, as long as he is in the picture, then and she is, you know, obedient to her father, then he sees that, you know, as an adult or when she's ready, she will be, you know, ready to essentially honor that position in her own family, like the position of the father. And in societies like ours where fatherhood is like a vanishing resource, this would appear to be anachronistic, but I can see how the men uh want to see that restored, that kind of like fatherly position. That's like a different kind of meaning that they're not getting, you know,
Well,
out of so go ahead.
yeah, but I mean, the requirement in women hasn't really changed, not even in the West.
Hmm.
Women will still judge men if they don't protect them. They'll still
Yes.
judge men if they don't provide for them. Like men are still expected to be in that position, but they no longer get the respect, the deference, um, or even the authority necessary to function in that position, which is a lot of the reason why our society is deteriorating. Now, we could go to one of two ways. If women can't let go of the desire to be protected in particular, then they have to if they can't let go of their desire to not have to take responsibility in the same way men do, and to not have to protect themselves in the same way men do, then they have to accept a position of submission. Just like the president has to listen to his bodyguards, right? Now, if they don't want to do that, if they don't want to continue to hold men to that expected position of authority and responsibility, then they have to take care of this stuff themselves, and they got to stop playing the victim. They got to stop pretending like there's a patriarchy that's making them do shit, right? And start saying, no, I did that, and I am the sole arbiter of my own protection and my own safety. I can't expect the men to make the world a utopia for myself and get rid of all evil, right? I have to take responsibility for the fact that there are bad actors in the world, both male and female. I can't sit there saying, oh, there are criminals. Why are there criminal men in the world? That's men's fault. It's like, no, you got to take responsibility for your own protection. You know, and the alternative is what I'm seeing is that for some reason all men are responsible for the existence of criminal men. If they didn't exist, then women wouldn't have to take responsibility for their protection, nor would they have to submit to the protection of men. So it's all men's fault. Well,
Yep.
good luck creating heaven on earth before women take responsibility for their own damn safety.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
The fathers can also cook. It's not always the mother. Moving on.
Girlfriend only has 9 months. Let me see. To live, I think is what it said. I want to go back just a little bit. This might be just a funny sketch.
Moving on.
Only has 9 months left to live. Girlfriend or boyfriend. Tell me what I should do to make you happy before you go. Will you let me sleep with my ex for one last time? Versus, tell me, what should I do to make you happy before you go? I'm sorry. Tell me what I should do to make you happy before I go. I'm confused by this story.
Wow, so emotional. I almost cried. I find it really funny that he keeps showing women having sexual urges as a bad thing. You know what? The concept of a slut doesn't even exist. Because a slut is just a woman who has characteristics of a man. Nobody ever hates on.
What the
What? Wait, did your camera freeze? Oh no, okay, you're just paralyzed with disgust. So a slut is a woman who acts like a man.
If you're an example of a woman who has multiple sexual partners, you are leaking all over the place your immorality and inability to recognize the emotions of a long-term romantic partner. Like, yes, of course he's going to be judgmental of his romantic partner wanting to sleep with other people. Right? And maybe also recognize the connection between being part of hookup culture and ultimately not being happy settling down. Right? Like I would have the same problem with men who are part of hookup culture if I had ever been in that situation, because I'm sure that they would get bored because they're used to that level of variety and excitement. Of course, with a man, you know, women have the ability to lock them in more because of legal reasons, right? So, but it's the same difference. You know, he wants a woman who's not going to get bored of him. Who's not going to get bored of the same man day after day after day. You're more likely to get that from a woman who's a virgin than a woman who has prior experience. You know, although I doubt that it's really going to be that much of an issue if it's not like in the double digits, right?
Yeah.
So, but also he has a right to his preference. And obviously they're from a very traditional culture. And again, you yourself demonstrate that you see yourself in terms of protection from something because you're presenting yourself as a victim of this man. Who are you appealing to protect yourself from this man who you're saying is this horrible misogynist, which I've yet to really see. So I feel like this is false advertising. But
Yeah.
because that's what she's doing right here. She's making herself a demure. Look at she talks about this guy having women looking. She's looking up with her head down. She's
like on like a chair that looks like it's huge, and she's like really small in it, like the comfy couch or whatever.
She is presenting an image of frailty and victimhood. Who is she appealing to? Right? She's appealing to men. And maybe like also feminist women, I don't know, other women who see themselves in this way. She's appealing to be saved from this dude. So who's going to save her? All the legislators who basically silence him through censorship were probably men. Like that's what I'm seeing. It's like she is operating in the very paradigm that she's supposedly calling out for him. Well, and the difference is that she wants to have men's protection. She wants to appeal to men with demure fragility in order to get them to do stuff for her at the same time as she decries the idea that she then has to respect and submit and obey to the person she expects to protect her. It's like one or the other.
Allison, why are men's hobbies considered unattractive by women? I was just thinking about this, okay? Because she's talking about like what it means to be a slut is when women behave like men. When obviously what it is that men want women to value their reproductive capacity, like their ability to have babies, their ability to have a healthy romantic or sexual relationship with a man, a healthy commitment so they can have healthy children. A woman who treats her sexuality like like something, I don't know, disposable. And look, not all men are not attracted to that, but some men are not attracted to that. Like some men are like, again, establishing preferences. But when women
She
say
treats her
they don't,
sexuality. She treats her sexuality like a entertainment rather than something that you build a relationship or a family with.
yeah, but what about when they say, for example, they don't like men's hobbies, like playing video games, for example. It's like the number one, right? Why is that? Well, I think it's because women think that men should be spending their resources on them or on building stuff for them. And when men are not doing that, then they shame them. You see what I'm saying? It's like that's the parallel. And I'm not even saying that's not no, it's not really fair parallel because a man should, like anybody, should be able to have their hobbies as long as they're not
entertain themselves.
Yes, right. But I think it's like the same. That's sort of like the equivalent. Like if a guy was just,
yeah, it's a really good point. Like,
let's say frivolously spending his money on whatever and doesn't ever invest and doesn't ever save anything, instead of spending it on her, and that's. I'm not saying that's justified. I'm saying it's probably the closest to the simple to the analog for that, or like the equivalent of that for women. But the thing that's funny is that it's pretty easy for women to just be selective.
I get what you're saying. So I mean, to judge men for having hobbies and then be offended that men judge women for having sexual hobbies.
Yeah, sure.
No, okay. That's a really good point. I just can't get over the fact she's cradling a stuffed animal. She's looking up through her eyes and she's demure. Like what was somebody said in the chat?
What, vertical?
Very demure, very cutesy, very
Very
mindful.
mindful. Yeah.
I'm like, and then she's complaining about this guy making the same. What are you feeling like he's honing in on your turf, lady?
Mm-hmm.
How dare he appropriate my victim resources as a woman? Oh, good lord. Okay, let's.
All right.
I see we're so close.
Last one.
Are objects, submissive objects, and they have a problem with any woman who speaks her mind. I'm sure my video is also going to
Your
be full
mind. You
of
don't
hate
have a
from men
mind. You
who
just
are
have victimhood.
Yeah.
offended that I'm questioning this guy. I know because I made a reel about it, and that's what started happening.
So what? He has like 10 times more than your followers. The problem is your dad probably should have used some protection. Remember, when she picks out comments, she's trying to find the worst offenders. That's a joke. The first one is the so what, and then you wear short clothes to get attention,
Yeah,
and when you get
okay.
it, you blame it on men.
Dude, you should have said the problem is your mother should have had an abortion.
Yeah, that's
And she
don't
couldn't
you
have
like
said anything.
abortions? You should
Yeah.
have been the first of 45 abortions your mom was gonna have. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, this is first of all, she's making herself out to be a victim of this. There's no more submissive posture than being a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You are making yourself out to be a victim of this. Look at you. You look like this little girl who's being horribly abused by these men. These big black box comments that are all over you. Like almost
She's
like that
covered in
scene,
them, being attacked.
the scene with the black dudes behind the couch and the little white dude on
Oh
white
yeah.
girl.
The black guy standing behind the couch.
It's her, and all behind her are all
No
these
comments.
the comments.
Yeah. She's sitting in front, legs crossed with a stuffed animal.
Yes, exactly. And it's like you are affecting, you are triggering all of those instincts, all of that paternal instinct, all that desire to save women by affecting this victimhood. And in the process of affecting this victimhood, you are not learning to overcome anything. And overcoming things is part of how that's a huge part of who you are, is who you become through struggle. And you are like, it's being lectured by a person who's decided to become half of herself. Like she's just half of herself, and she's lecturing to everyone else about objectifying. You are objectifying yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
All right,
I'm done.
Look, women are not objects. Women don't need to know how to cook. Everybody should know how to cook. Not because they should be a good partner, but because it's just something we all have to do, eat. And lastly, women don't need to be virgins. They do not need to be submissive to be good human beings or good partners, just like men. If
They do have to be victims, though.
Yeah. Also, I don't think he's saying you need to be anything. Like, if he says, I prefer women to be this way, and you're not that way, why are you worried? Like, why does this concern you? Then, okay.
Yeah, he literally said that when with the first thing with the virgin, she's like, oh, it's okay if you're not a virgin. I'm sure you'll find somebody. And then she was like, no, I'm a virgin. I just can't cook. It's like,
yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know how that's offensive. It's just his preference. If he indeed has that preference, and it's not just for humorous effect.
Yeah. Well, she's into Freud, so.
Yeah.
Please focus
Nothing
your
is humorous.
energies on finding a partner who makes you feel loved and cared for. And do the same for her. Have the same standards for men and women. Respect goes both ways. Women.
Okay.
Okay. All right. She's just saying respect women. I don't know if you guys know.
Okay,
but
so
that's
if
generally a good
your
idea.
future husband sat in a chair with a cute little number on, cradling a stuffed animal and talking about how he's potentially a victim of your opinion of him, are you going to hold him to the same standard? Or are you going to expect him to be the guy who comes in and protects you from shit? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, she's saying, oh, everybody should want equally. No, that's not what you're saying, because you aren't going to allow a man to enjoy your protection and provision. I guarantee it, because, and I know you're not, because you already play the victim. What are you appealing to when you play the victim? You're appealing to a certain type of masculinity, savior masculinity, which is what you expect. in men. So this isn't about, oh, everybody should be equal in their expectations and we should all have we should have relationships based rooted in equality. It's about you saying, I shouldn't have to bring anything to the table. And I know this is true because of the way you're presenting yourself. You are demonstrating the man that you want by cradling that stuffed animal, by making yourself look demure and cutesy and mindful and a victim and weak and fragile. You are showing in the negative the man that you want. It's just you don't want a man who has expectations of any kind of discipline, any kind of self-reliance, any kind of true independence or recognition of quid pro quo, right? You don't want to have anything put on you. So you get what I'm saying? It's not equality. It's she doesn't want to have to live up to anything. She doesn't want to have to live up to the man that she wants. Like you can see the petals that she's putting out, the perfume that she's putting out. You can see the kind of man she wants to attract by her behavior. But she doesn't want to have to allow that man has authority. She wants to play the victim, but she doesn't want to have somebody to have the authority to save her. And it's like, okay, so you don't really want equality. What you want is no expectations placed on you. You want hot ice. You want fried ice. Okay, I don't know if anybody can follow me with this.
Oh, we know. Yeah, she wants, like you said, she wants hot ice. She wants the impossible.
Yeah, well, she wants a man to protect her without having the authority to do so. And she can't escape that because look at what she's presenting. Her entire spiel for the last 19 minutes is protect me from this comedian who is, I mean, we've just watched these horribly misogynist screeds and they're freaking what?
They're like nothing. And also, like I said, if you look this guy up, Ashbury have whatever reels on YouTube. He's on YouTube. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. Most of them are just comedy stuff. And I mean, like half of them, if you're not Indian, you're probably not going to get it because there's like music playing and the music is probably related, but you don't know what the music is because you've never heard it before. I mean, not that like Bollywood music isn't catchy as fuck. It is, but like, you don't know what's happening. Like you don't, and so you're like, how is this offensive? Like she had to go through all of his videos, or somebody else went through all of his videos to find a couple of that she could find offensive, sent them to her, and she responded to them, and then she said, "This is all of his content." Basically, right? And who's gonna go and back and watch all this guy's reels to confirm that? Like maybe like some AI program? Could you go through find all the misogyny in this grok? So I mean, it's a stretch. Like I said, most of his content is just comedy stuff. He just has opinions. He's apparently a bit more traditional than she prefers, and that's basically her problem with him.
She still wants the traditional man to protect her. Obviously, she wants to be able to play the child who needs saving. She just doesn't want to have to give him the authority necessary for him to be in that role. Like if this is what I'm getting from her. This is what she's presenting, which is really ironic that she calls them out for using female characters that are demure.
Yeah, well, that's basically that is the playbook, the feminist playbook of women, female dating strategy, right? That's what female dating strategy is, isn't it? It's like
I guess so.
Get all of the care and the consideration and the support and the whatever, and none of the emotional labor, none of the work, none of the authority are given to men, and it's getting that bag while securing your own bag.
Yeah.
So,
and the thing is that our societies are breaking to try to offer this to women, to try to offer unlimited freedom without expectation of responsibility, and men are breaking, trying to offer protection and provision with no authority. Like, how do you provide for someone who has an unlimited tab that you can and she can spend more than you can ever make? How do you end up providing for someone like that? It's essentially the creation. Like, this is what we've constructed. All right. My cat is really distracting me.
That's
sorry.
it. We're done. That was the last sound clip. So you can wrap it up if you want.
Here she is. She's being a pest. All right. So I'll just do a double check to make sure that we have done all our thank yous. Okay. You got to stop stepping on my computer. Okay. There we go. Got my computer working again.
Magic for them.
No.
It takes away their freedom, and still their war. The beating heart of Rome is not the marble of the Senate, it's the sand of the Colosseum.
Okay, stop. You gotta stop.
You bring them death, and they will love him for it.
Okay, all right. I think I got it here. All right. No, we're good. I don't see any further. Come here, you. Okay.
Oh boy.
Sorry. Go. All right. Okay. Hopefully that's sorted. Okay. So yeah. If you would like to send us, is it time for that now, Brian? Are we done?
Yep.
Okay, well, if you'd like to send us a message, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. I mean, you can send us a tip, and if you want to send us a message with that tip, it's the very best way to send us a message because it goes into our community, which you can also access at badgernation.online. And if you want to support the show, like, thank you again to Health Potion Addict, who put in $250. So thank you. If you want to support the show, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/support. Thank you to everybody who helps us out every month. You are the reason why we continue to be able to do this content and point out these incredible contradictions and hypocrisies in what people are trying to present to the world. She just wants to be saved, guys. But at the same time as she wants to complain about being saved, that she just wants both. It's both the nail and it's not the nail, and it's also the man put the nail there and everything else. Every possible interpretation of the nail has to be accessible. All right, so once again, Feed the Badger at the same time. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us a tip and a comment. Feedthebadger.com/support to support the show. And I'll leave it back to you, Brian, so you can give us your final thoughts, closing thoughts.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, not much else except India is getting cooked because now your Indian feminists sound like our feminists. So c'est la vie. All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we discussed in the show today. And you'll find links to the sources in the description of this video. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame. And we will talk to you guys in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.